The night before Julius Caesar was stabbed 23 times, someone asked him, "What's the best way to die?" His answer? A sudden one. He already knew what was coming. See, the conspiracy against Caesar wasn't some perfectly sealed secret. Rome in 44 BC was a city of roughly 1 million people, crammed inside ancient walls, and political gossip moved through it faster than fire through dry timber. Senators whispered, slaves overheard, letters circulated. Caesar's own wife, Calpurnia, had nightmares so violent the night before the assassination that she physically begged him not to leave the house. A Greek philosopher named Artemidorus actually wrote down the names of the conspirators on a scroll and tried to hand it to Caesar on his walk to the Senate. Caesar took the scroll. He never opened it. So the question isn't really, who killed Caesar? Shakespeare answered that one for us. The real question, the one that's been haunting historians for over 2,000 years, is why did he go? Why did the most powerful man in the Western world walk into a room full of people he suspected wanted him dead and do absolutely nothing to stop it? To understand that, you have to understand what Rome actually was in 44 BC. And it was a mess. The Roman Republic, this system of shared power, elected officials, term limits, checks and balances, had been slowly falling apart for about 100 years. Generals had started acting like kings. Armies became loyal to their commanders instead of the state. There had already been 2 catastrophic civil wars in living memory. The second one, fought by Caesar himself against his former ally, Pompey. Caesar won decisively. He chased Pompey all the way to Egypt, where Pompey was murdered by local officials trying to curry favor. Caesar reportedly wept when they presented him with Pompey's severed head. Whether those tears were real or political theater, nobody knows. But the result was the same. Caesar came home to Rome as the last man standing. And after he won, the Senate gave him a title no Roman had ever held permanently: Dictator Perpetuo. Dictator in perpetuity. Now, in Rome, dictator didn't originally mean tyrant. It was a temporary emergency role, 6 months, maybe a year, designed for crisis management. Think of it like martial law with an expiration date. The idea of making it permanent? That was something else entirely. That was a man saying openly, "I am the state." And here's where it gets complicated, because Caesar wasn't just hoarding power for the sake of it. He was actually doing things. He reformed the calendar, the one we still use, by the way, with minor tweaks. He extended citizenship to people in Gaul and Spain. He redistributed land to veterans and the poor. He reduced debt. He filled the Senate with new members from the provinces, people who'd never had a voice in Roman politics before. By almost every practical measure, life in Rome was getting better under Caesar. But the old guard of the Senate? They were furious. Not because Caesar was a bad ruler, because he was making them irrelevant. And that's the thing people miss about the assassination. The conspirators, Brutus, Cassius, Decimus, about 60 senators in total, they didn't kill Caesar because he was a tyrant who was hurting Rome. They killed him because he was a popular leader who was changing Rome in ways that left no room for them. Cassius was passed over for promotions he felt he deserved. Brutus was drowning in a philosophical crisis about his own family legacy. His ancestor had supposedly overthrown the last king of Rome 5 centuries earlier, and people kept leaving anonymous notes on his chair in the Senate. "You're no Brutus. Your ancestors are ashamed." Imagine the pressure of that. Decimus Brutus, not the famous Brutus, a different one, and this distinction matters, was one of Caesar's closest friends. trusted general, dinner companion. Caesar had literally named Decimus as a secondary heir in his will. And Decimus was the one who, on the morning of March 15th, when Calpurnia almost succeeded in convincing Caesar to stay home, walked into Caesar's house and persuaded him to go anyway. He mocked him. He said the Senate would think Caesar was afraid. He said they were planning to offer him a crown that day, and if he didn't show up, they'd change their minds. That was a lie. There was no crown. Decimus walked his friend to his death. And this is the part of the story that should keep you up at night. Not the knives, not the blood, but the fact that the man Caesar trusted most was the one who made sure he showed up. So, back to the question, why did Caesar go? Some historians think it was arrogance, pure, unfiltered hubris. Caesar had survived assassination attempts before. He dismissed his personal bodyguard, a unit of Spanish soldiers, weeks earlier, saying that living behind a wall of guards was not living at all. He'd been warned repeatedly by multiple sources and waved every single warning away. There's a version of this story where Caesar simply couldn't conceive that anyone would dare. But there's another interpretation, and honestly, it's darker. Some scholars believe Caesar knew exactly what was going to happen and chose to walk into it anyway, not out of carelessness, out of calculation. Caesar was 55 years old, which in Roman terms was ancient. He suffered from what ancient sources describe as the falling sickness, almost certainly epilepsy. His health was declining. His campaigns of conquest were behind him, and he'd built a political machine so dependent on his personal authority that the moment he died, it would collapse into chaos, unless his death itself became the catalyst for something bigger. Think about that for a second. If Caesar died of old age or illness, he'd be forgotten within a generation, just another Roman strongman. But if Caesar was murdered, publicly, dramatically, by the very senators who claimed to defend the Republic, then he wouldn't just die. He'd become a martyr. His death would prove his point, that the Republic was already dead, and the men who claimed to protect it were nothing but killers in togas. Whether Caesar planned it that way or not, that is exactly what happened. The assassination took place in a hall attached to the Theater of Pompey. And yes, that's the same Pompey that Caesar had defeated in the Civil War. There's an irony there so thick you could choke on it. Not the Senate House. It was under renovation. But a temporary meeting space, Caesar arrived late. He sat down. The senators stood to greet him, which was normal protocol. Julius Caesar approached with a petition, a request to recall his exiled brother. Caesar waved him off. Cimber grabbed Caesar's toga and yanked it off his shoulder. That was the signal. Casca struck first from behind. His blade hit Caesar's neck but barely broke the skin. His hands were shaking so badly, he nearly dropped the weapon. Caesar spun around, grabbed Casca's arm, and stabbed him with his writing stylus. For a moment, and ancient sources are very clear about this, it looked like Caesar might actually fight his way out. He didn't. 22 more men closed in. 60 senators were in on the plot. 23 blades found their target. Ancient sources say Caesar stopped fighting when he saw Brutus among the attackers. He pulled his toga over his face, not because he was afraid, because he didn't want to be seen dying with an undignified expression. Even in the final seconds, it was about control. The conspirators thought they'd save the Republic. They walked out of that hall with blood on their hands, literally, and marched through the streets holding their daggers in the air, shouting, "Liberty! Freedom? Tyranny is dead. They expected cheering. They expected gratitude. They expected Rome to thank them. Rome went silent. Doors closed. Shutters locked. The streets emptied. Nobody cheered. Nobody celebrated. The people of Rome, the ones Caesar had fed, given land to, protected, didn't see liberators. They saw murderers. And within hours, a young man named Gaius Octavius received a message telling him two things. First, that Caesar was dead. Second, that Caesar's will named him as his adopted son and primary heir. Octavius was in modern-day Albania at the time, studying and waiting to join Caesar on a planned military campaign against Parthia, a campaign that now would never happen. That young man, 18 years old, sickly, completely underestimated by every powerful person in Rome, would spend the next 13 years methodically destroying every single person involved in the conspiracy. He formed alliances, broke them, fought wars, made deals, and eliminated rivals one by one with a patience that bordered on terrifying. And when he was done, he renamed himself Augustus and became the first emperor of Rome. The republic the assassins killed Caesar to save, it died on the floor of that theater right alongside him. They just didn't know it yet. Every single conspirator would be dead within 4 years. Cassius fell on his own sword at the Battle of Philippi. Brutus did the same 2 weeks later on the same battlefield. Decimus was captured while fleeing through Gaul and beheaded by a tribal chief. 60 men conspired. Not one of them survived the decade. Caesar's final act of genius, intentional or not, was dying in exactly the right way, at exactly the right time, in front of exactly the wrong people. His murder didn't end his legacy. It made it permanent. 2,000 years later, his name is still a word for power itself. Kaiser, Tsar, Caesar. The man who said the best death was a sudden one got exactly what he asked for, and the men who gave it to him got something they never imagined. Proof that killing a man is easy, but killing what he represents is impossible. If that kind of story grabs you, hit subscribe, because this is only the beginning of what Rome has to teach us. There's a video on screen right now that picks up exactly where this one ends.